Welcome everyone to another session of Office Hours. My name is Adrian. It is the 23rd of June, and today we're going to be talking about handling some refunds and the best way to go about doing that, some systems and processes that you should absolutely have in place in order to provide an excellent refund experience while preventing them at the same time. I did have a little bit of audio issues. So if it looks like my words and the audio in my mouth is just not syncing up, it's because it isn't, and that's on my end. I'm not really sure what the deal with that is, but I didn't have time to sort it out. So we're just going to continue forward regardless of the audio. If just make sure that it isn't affecting the sound quality. So if at any point you have some trouble hearing me or there seems to be a sound quality issue, just let me know in the comments section. Speaking of which, the comments section is where you can ask your questions. This is a Q&A session. In the first half, we talk about our topic, which today is handling refunds, and then we have an open Q&A section at the end of the call. If at any point you have a question, feel free to drop that in the chat section. I have it open on my right-hand side here, and I'm looking at it, and I am going to be reiterating your question live here and then answering it in real time. So some super cool stuff there. Steve says, hello everyone. It's a beautiful day in Salt Lake City. I love Salt Lake City, Utah. Great ski country. So welcome, Steve, from Salt Lake City. That's awesome. And again, if you have a question at any point, feel free to just drop that in the comments. Two sections. We do our topic first and any questions related to the topic, and then in the later half of the session, we'll get into our open Q&A. This Office Hours session is being recorded, posted to YouTube, as well as our Office Hours channel on Groundhogg Academy. You can watch this recording as well as recording of previous Office Hours there after the session is complete. So let's just jump right into our main topic, and that's talking about handling some refunds. Refunds are kind of just an inevitable part of business. They're as inevitable as both death and taxes. I coined that. I hope it catches on. But really, refunds is just part of the cost of doing business. It's impossible for a business owner to completely please every single person. And I don't think any business has ever had to not ever deal with a refund, as it were. So I have been doing a lot of research into the best systems and practices that I could implement, at least for Groundhogg, in refunds. Yes, not everybody absolutely falls in love with our software. We have had to process refunds over the last 2 years for people that either couldn't make our product work, or there was another issue, conflicted with something they were already using, or they bought it and they didn't know it was for WordPress. There's lots of reasons why we have refunded people. But I've learned a lot of strategies that we put in place that have significantly decreased the number of refunds that we've had to hand out, as well as improvements to the refund process that has made it easier for customers to actually return even after they've previously collected a refund. You usually think that a refund is the end of the customer journey, but in a lot of cases, it can actually be the beginning of the customer journey. And I'm going to dive into that a lot more. So the first thing when creating a cohesive refund journey, as it were, or a refund process, is you need to have a clear and visible refund policy. I've seen so many businesses get in so much trouble simply because they haven't been upfront with the terms and conditions of the refund policy. A lot of businesses decide to bury it in the terms and conditions or the privacy policy or wherever, and they make it super hard to find because they are worried that people are actually going to take them up on that. And the thing is, you're doing yourself a disservice by making your refund policy hard to find, especially when it comes to chargebacks. Now, if you're using a payment processor like PayPal or Stripe, chargebacks are another cost of doing business. But you can prevent chargebacks by making your refund policy and posting it literally everywhere. My preferred refund policy of choice is a 14-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked, no refunds after 14 days. Depending on your service or product, say, for example, maybe you have a course or maybe you have some sort of information product, 14 days, 30 days makes a lot of sense in those cases as well. If you have some sort of service, your refund policy might be dependent on the outcome of the service. Like, let's say, if you have a course on getting more sales and you have some sort of ads campaign service that goes along with that, you might say, 10 leads guaranteed or your money back or something like that. But generally, I like to have some sort of guarantee or your money back 100%. In this case, it's just satisfaction guaranteed within 14 days. After 14 days, there's no refunds. By being clear and upfront about your policy, you are setting an expectation for the customer to not ask for a refund after the 14 days. So you've immediately removed a significant number of refunds, maybe 30 days, 60 days, 90 days after the purchase, just by being upfront. It's like, don't bother sending a refund request after 14 days, because after 14 days, we will not process your refund because we are clear about that upfront. So you can save yourself a lot of hassle responding to refund requests and denying refund requests by setting the expectation of what your policy is upfront and making it clear and visible. On the front of making it visible, we have our refund policy posted all over our website. We have it on each of the download pages. We have it on the pricing page. We have it in the footer. We have it on the checkout page. We really try and make our refund policy as visible as possible to set that expectation early on so that they can either get used to the product and enjoy the product within that 14-day period, or they can submit a refund. You should absolutely be posting your refund policy all over your site. Don't make it hard to find, because you're just doing yourself and your customer a disservice. Posting a money-back guarantee for a 14-day refund policy is also a huge trust builder, because it shows that you're being upfront about what your terms are, and the icon generally, every reputable business has this refund policy, has the icon that's like 14-day money-back guarantee. They still puts the money-back guarantee on grocery store items when you buy stuff from the grocery store. And that's because it works. So do yourself a favor and get one of these icons made, the 14-day money-back guarantee. Post it as everywhere that you can, and you're going to do yourself a huge, huge, huge favor. Okay. Let's talk about some more systematic and logistic stuff. So let's talk about the refund request process. Now, most businesses don't have a refund request process. Now, what is a refund request process? It is a process that your customer has to go through in order to successfully submit a refund request. In most cases, refund requests are just go through your chat or maybe your general support queue, and the conversation goes like, hey, listen, I want a refund, and you say yes or no, and that's the end of the conversation. By going through such a short process, you are doing yourself a disservice by not letting the customer know other alternative options that they have to seeing success without a refund. And I'm going to show you an example of that. So I'm going to walk you through Groundhogg's refund process, which is the process of going through and getting a refund. So I'm going to tab out of my slide deck here. And I am going to open up our refund request process. You are welcome to visit this page and follow along the steps. I've just posted the link to it in the chat. You do require to be logged in for this process, and you are welcome to come here after the fact and go through it and copy some of the language. I actually invite you, please don't submit a refund request, because that would be kind of against the point. Anyway, so let's talk about our refund request. I am just going to close this temporarily so it's not distracting. There I go. And let's make this full screen. So the refund request process starts off with simply reviewing the refund policy. Again, when we earlier set the expectation for 14 days, if in fact the customer missed it, they can actually self-identify if their case qualifies for a refund. So we say after 14 days, you do not qualify, renewals don't qualify. You can set up the expectation of what the actual result of their refund request will be upfront by just stating it here in the refund policy. They can say, I have reviewed the refund policy and still want a refund. So they can click that link. And then we take them through a series of steps. And these steps are basically trying to prevent a refund from happening by offering alternative solutions. Maybe they just had, they found that the product didn't work, or they didn't get the results they were looking for and are requesting a refund. But they might not have communicated with support in order to let them know that the fix is actually pretty simple. We see this a lot. So we ask, did you open a support ticket or talk to support in order to solve the issue that you're happening? If they've opened a ticket and they came to an unsuccessful resolution, they can continue on forward to the next step. In this case, we ask if they want to book a meeting with a customer success agent so they can get on a call for 30 minutes. They can maybe do some implementation or talk through their roadblocks and their struggles so they can get some personalized service in order to prevent the refund. They can decline that meeting with the success agent. We ask if they have worked with a partner. In some cases, it's just a little bit too cumbersome for your Joe Blow business owner to figure out. So we try and pair them up with a certified partner. If they don't want to work with a partner, then we ask if they're sure they want a refund. I'm going to tab back to my slide deck for a second here because I want to talk about this next slide. And that's loss reminder. So one of the biggest ways or the best ways that you can prevent refunds is by reminding them of what they're losing by requesting a refund. Most of humanity is powered by and motivated by loss aversion. The feeling that we're much more motivated, and maybe this is a failing of the human condition, but we're much more motivated by not losing something than we are gaining something. And it's kind of a weird psychology thing where, if I was going to say, you should buy this thing because it's going to help you not lose $10,000, or you should buy this thing because it's going to make you $1 million, a lot more people would probably take it because they're motivated by loss and they don't want to lose what they already have because they see that as being taken away from them and not necessarily as gaining something. So it's super interesting psychology on that front. So one of the steps should absolutely be before going and submitting that refund request and allowing them and processing that refund, we need to remind them of all of the things that they're going to lose and miss out on. So let's go back to our refund request process. And we are going to tell them that, hey, listen, you're going to stop receiving software updates. You're going to stop receiving support. We're not going to be able to help you on a technical level anymore. Any associated groups, masterminds, courses, or programs that you have access to from your paid service is going to be revoked. And we have a big button here that says, never mind, I want to keep my access, or I don't need access and I want a refund. So if the loss aversion is still not enough in order to keep them on board, then this person obviously is not an ideal customer, not a right fit for you, and you should actually be happy that they are requesting their money back and that you are providing them a way out. So we're going to say, I don't need access, I want a refund. And from that point, they go to the refund form. They can enter their order number. They can give you a reason. I highly recommend you collect reasons for why people are refunding. It will provide you insight into your business that you might not otherwise have known. We're going to ask for a little bit more context. And after all of that, if they want a refund, they're going to click that request a refund button and submit that form. You're going to get a support ticket. It'll be sent to whoever's in charge, and you are going to process that refund accordingly. We actually, in this case, we have a special form here. It'll actually, depending on the order number, because it shows all of the orders, it'll only show eligible orders, and it'll actually display an error if they submit an ineligible order, so that we can put software in front of the process for telling them whether their order is valid for a refund or not. I highly recommend that if you can set something up maybe with like Gravity Forms and Ninja Forms, that would be super cool and would save you a lot of time and your customers a lot of time as well. So let's exit back. So that's the refund process. You can set this up yourself for your own business just by chaining a few pages together. with Elementor, setting a couple buttons and a couple links. It's not that difficult of a process. All it takes is just a couple of pages, kind of formatted like this, a yes link and a no link, and the yes link will take them to whatever process the alternative option that you're offering them is. So a lot of businesses treat the refund process as the end of a customer relationship, but that is simply not true, because if you provide a pleasant experience while that customer is requesting a refund, you leave a good taste in your mouth. If you're providing a poor customer experience where it's difficult to find where to request a refund, or you're ignoring refund requests or anything like that, it leaves a sour taste, and that you can guarantee is the end of the customer relationship. In our case, this is the email that we send out after processing a refund. First of all, we take responsibility that we were not able to provide the experience that they were expecting. We let them know that they've been refunded, and they will see that reflected in their statement in generally 3 to 5 business days. In the event that you regret your decision to leave, our door will remain open to you. Please reach out if you have any questions. This is just a simple line of text that lets them know that there are no hard feelings, and that if they want to come back, we will welcome them back with open arms and have the same level of dedication to ensuring that their problems are resolved as we were the first time. I want to say that of all of the refunds that we've ever processed, somewhere between 15 and 20% have repurchased within the next 3 months. That's a lot for refunds. And anywhere from 15 to 20% have repurchased within the next 3 months. Literally, like the other day, someone had requested a refund, and obviously they had refund remorse, and then they came back and repurchased for an actually better plan than the one they originally had, which is kind of cool. Because we provided them with a no-hassle refund experience. They left with a good taste. They went and they tried other stuff. The other stuff didn't work. And they're like, you know what? I had a good experience there. If I have more problems, they're going to help me out. And they came back and they said, all right, I'm going to give this another shot. And we were able to satisfy them on their second visit. So don't slam the door when a customer walks out. Leave it open and provide them with a wholesome and solid experience so that they can return later on. Now, this is optional. Probably this wouldn't work for every business, but some businesses, and I have an example email here of what that would look like. You can offer what's called the Hail Mary email. So if you have a system where you can track orders which are refunded, you can send an email out to that customer that goes something like this. We're sorry your experience did not go as planned. We're going to miss you. If you change your mind in the next 3 days, you can use this coupon to enjoy 30% discount if you want to resubscribe to any of our premium plans. There's a discount code linked to the pricing page. If you want to take advantage of this discount now, best, and then you can sign your name. So this is an example. I've seen this work in a couple of ways. You can do this after a refund. You can do this after someone canceled their subscription. But in a lot of cases, it's just better to have the sale than the full cost of the sale. As they say, 70% of something is better than 100% of nothing. So this is definitely a valid strategy, especially if you're doing product-based sales. It probably won't work as well for, let's say, like a service-based business and maybe not physical shipped products. But if you have some sort of like subscription product or a software product, courses, info stuff, membership, then this is definitely something that you'll want to investigate. You should only do the 30% discount for the first year or for the first billing period. You don't want to have it be a persistent thing because you're going to want to recoup on your investment there. But this is definitely a strategy that I've seen work in the past. If you're using Groundhogg and you're using something like EDD or WooCommerce to do your sales, then we actually have benchmarks which can track refunds, and then you can actually send out this Hail Mary. So that is something that is totally doable, and I recommend that you investigate. Okay, so that pretty much covers our training on refunds and handling refunds and suggestions for better refund processes. We have reached the question and answer section. So all questions are now available, or per se, or all questions are on the board. What's the phrase? Fair game. All questions are now fair game. So we have a chat. I have it on my right-hand side here. I'm looking at it right now, which is why I'm not looking at the camera. Go ahead and paste your questions in that chat. I'm going to repeat them live here on the call, and then do my best to provide you with an answer in real time. So we have our first question here. It's from Steve Klingler. Welcome to the call, Steve. He has 2 questions. So we'll start out with question number 1. Number 1 is, how are folks identifying managing inactive, disengaged contacts? We are running our own database queries based on days since last open or number of emails since the last open, then using import feature to tag those contacts so that they are excluded. Is there a better way in Groundhogg? So this doesn't necessarily exist in Groundhogg at the moment, simply because there's so many different ways to define active and inactive. We do have a report for it. So if I open up like my local host here and go to the reporting, we have a report for it to show active contacts. Engaged, we call them engaged contacts apparently. So we have the engaged contacts report. But that doesn't necessarily reflect in an actual exportable report or a contact list. There is a pending feature request to provide a better process, Steve, but I don't think we have kind of anything at the moment. The best, the best option is using the confirmation method, which I'm probably sure you do as a certified partner already. And continuing to email confirmed contacts, and then if they haven't confirmed their email within 14 days, we remove them. What I actually did recently was I sent out a feeler email to everybody that was on the list, and I asked them if they just wanted to stay on the list. So to anybody that was currently unconfirmed, we sent an email that said, do you want to stay on the list or not? And anybody that wanted to stay on the list confirmed their email address, signifying that they actually wanted to remain on the list. I know that's not exactly the answer that you're looking for, but this is an active feature request to provide some sort of report for active contacts, so you can see who's engaged or disengaged with a certain period of time. So I'm going to leave that question open simply because it's in our feature request queue. It sounds like you have an interesting process at the moment. So what you might want to do is we are always open to learning about how other businesses are implementing systems and processes. You should reach out to our support team and our help desk, maybe share some details of the process that you're going through to determine active contacts, because that may be something that we can implement in that feature request, the pending feature request for active contacts. So we can provide you some sort of system that would work for you and your process at the moment. Your second question is, we are seeing an uptick in what appears to be bots signing up hundreds of real email addresses for our newsletter, and the real account owners then complain, unsubscribe. Yeah, so bots are an unending nuisance in the email marketing industry, and they're really hard to stop unless you're using something like reCAPTCHA. There is a pending feature request for reCAPTCHA v3. We have reCAPTCHA v2, which is kind of just like the button click one. We have a pending request for reCAPTCHA v3, so hopefully we're going to be able to deliver on that soon. Let's see, other options. So if you have a contact record and you know that there's spam, then you can mark that contact record as spam by clicking the spam action, or you can do the bulk action and mark them as spam as well. What this will do is we keep track of the IP address that contact signed up with, and that IP address is added to a blacklist, and then no one from that IP address will be able to continue to submit forms. This is a reactive strategy rather than a proactive strategy. So, but it is kind of like a fail-safe. If in the event you are getting lots of spam requests from the similar IP addresses, then you can just kind of blacklist all of those. Secondly, we have support for the comment blacklist, I believe it's called, settings. So if I go to the discussion settings in WordPress, there is a comment block list. The comment block list will use any of the keywords in it, match them against all of the submitted fields in a Groundhogg form, and prevent them from being submitted if there is a match. So if you were getting a bunch of, let's say, like .ru email addresses and you don't want to receive those, then you could just block .ru like that. Or if there's maybe a similar string of characters in the first or last name, like XYB or something, you'd be able to add that as well. So the comment block list may be kind of like a rudimentary solution to your spam issue as well. Finally and lastly, there are kind of the more expensive solutions. So I believe there is a plugin called Cleantalk. And I think what Cleantalk does is they don't require an integration with anything, but you can install it and it will block any spammy submissions whatsoever to the website. So comments, forms, logins, everything. And I see a lot of people using it with Groundhogg just from looking through the plugins list on support tickets. So this may be something to look into. I will post that in the comments. You can also go down the road which I've gone down, which is using Wordfence. And you can block suspicious IPs and multi-requests. I get tons of blocked visits every day from my Wordfence report, just from spammers and the like. That's something that you can do. One question that I do have, Steve, is whether these people or your spammers are submitting forms or they're submitting WordPress user registrations. So a lot of bots will automatically attack the WP login page and look for user registrations. So if I go to my general settings and I have anyone can register enabled, go ahead and save those changes. That will expose the the WordPress user registration process from the login page. So now we can create an account from the WordPress login page. Oh, that didn't work. It's because I have Buddy Boss enabled. Let me go deactivate that. Deactivate. I also probably have to change the theme. Right, so if you have open registration enabled on WordPress, that is going to expose the register action on the WP login page. Bots love to attack this screen. Someone last week had this issue, so you want to make sure that you have open registration disabled. Steve says, okay, so it's not registration, but for anybody who has anyone can register enabled on their site, you're going to want to make sure that's disabled because bots love to spam the user registration. And whenever someone registers, that creates a contact record as well. But the problem is a GH form. So Steve, Wordfence to block IPs, Cleantalk to block submissions. You can do the comment block list to block keywords. You can mark contacts as spam to block those IPs. Lots of ways forward for you to move. I mean, my favorite way is probably to just set up Google reCAPTCHA. Unfortunately, we only have V2 support right now. It's under the missed settings. But we are going to try and do our best to add V3. It's a pending feature request. So once we add V3 support for reCAPTCHA, we'll be able to let you know, and then you can have sort of like that hidden CAPTCHA thing going on to BlockBot. So hopefully that provides at least a temporary answer to your question, Steve, and provides you a next course of action. I am going to take a 20-second break, wait for some new comments to come in, or new questions rather, and have a quick sip of my coffee. Hey, Paul, I see that you asked a question about one of your customers. I am not going to take care of that on office hours since you have an open ticket, so I'll look into your ticket after the office hour session is over. So we are waiting for some questions to come in about Groundhog, about implementation, any roadblocks that you're experiencing. If you want to talk about office hour or our office hours topic, which is handling refunds at all, we're also going to be taking questions for that. Maybe you have some insight into some refund processes that have worked for you and you want to share those. Anything is fair game in this open Q&A session. Just leave your comments in the live chat and I'll be able to help you. We'll reiterate your question and get you answers in real time. Steve says, suggestions for A/B testing landing pages in coordination with Groundhog. So if you're doing A/B testing for landing pages, then the best way I see to do that would be to have different forms for the different landing pages. So Steve, if you have two different landing pages, you want to test which one's working in coordination with Groundhog, then I would do the following. So I'm going to create a new funnel here, and I'm going to add 2 web forms. And this one is going to be, let's say, page A. This one can be page B. And then when you're looking at the reporting for this particular funnel, you'll be able to see the difference for the 2 benchmarks. So if we go and just look at the funnel report now, it's the wrong funnel because it's not active. Let's just go ahead and activate it and then go look at the report. So we have our 2 benchmarks. We have page A and page B, so we can look at the report and see the difference in the number of contacts that went through each one. If you want to tag the customer based on the page that they submitted, you might be able to do something like this. Let's go back to, I have to refresh the page. There we go. So if you want to tag the customer from the page that they use based on the web form submission, in that case, I would do the following. I would set up 2 funnels. So we could do funnel for page A. We have our web form. We can apply a tag. Go ahead and save that. And at the same time, we can also apply another tag to enter them into kind of another funnel. So funnel for page A adds them to a funnel, and then funnel for page B adds them to another funnel, but they both get the tags that they need, and then they're kind of entered into just one funnel. So that would also be an alternative option if you want to just tag people and segment them based on the page that they came from. I'm just thinking there might be a way to just do that based on fields here. Let's see. You could do like a hidden field, probably. We don't actually have an option for it, but you can modify the shortcode of the input field. So you could create a custom field that would retain whether they did page A or page B. It's a little bit more techy. It's probably easier to just create the 2 different funnels, Steve. So I would try that. Let me know if that answers your question sufficiently. There was a question from Paul, but it just disappeared. So Paul, if you want to ask your question, feel free to drop that in the comments, because I did not get to see it in time before I answered it. So I'm just waiting for a few questions to come in. This is our open Q&A period, everybody. If you have a question or are currently experiencing some sort of roadblock with Groundhogg, now is the time to ask it. I am answering questions in real time, give or take a 30-second delay, and we'll go through anything that we need to in order to get your question resolved and answered. There is a question that just came in from Jonathan, and he's asking, I wonder if you see any trends lately connected to how people are using Groundhogg in general that's been surprising. I mean, so Groundhogg has a huge range of implementation possibilities. I have seen people use it for different niches, and I've seen it being used for surprising niches. There are niches that I didn't even know existed until people started signing up for Groundhogg. There's someone who's a beekeepers association. That's a thing. So that was interesting. But most people want to be sending email and want to manage their contacts and segment them and just keep track of their list, which was Groundhogg's original intention. There was one case, I don't know if the project ever launched, but they were going to use Groundhogg as a directory, and they were setting up some sort of front end to list all of the contacts based on tags and directory. That was interesting. Another one was using it to connect to BuddyBoss and then manage the profile. Again, some sort of directory type thing. They had some interesting customizations where every email that you sent to a kid would go to their parent as well if the kids were signed up. But mostly we've been staying in the realm of marketing automation and CRM for the most part, which is good because that's where I'm most comfortable. Everyone seems to be using it in that. The most interesting kind of like departure from my comfort zone that we've created products for would be the websites as a service niche. So the WAS niche, if you're familiar with that terminology. We have WAS pricing and WAS focused products. So that has been something that we have had to learn about, and a lot of people are using our white labeled version of our products to create these multi-site networks to provide marketing automation and CRM to everybody who's part of that network and their niche. So that's been an interesting learning curve for myself and my team, and learning how to best support those people and those products and their customers all at the same time while keeping pricing in line and costs down. For anybody who's not familiar with WAS, we do have a special sales page for those people. It's Groundhogg /downloads/WAS. And we have several pricing options for the WAS people. It's our only option where we provide monthly payments. But you can go ahead and check that out. And it's really just for businesses that are looking at building these network sites where they kind of have people sign up by themselves and learn it on their own. And Groundhogg is really out of the picture. It's really the business owner who's taking care of the support and the implementation, all of that stuff. So that is an interesting service offering that exists for those who didn't know about it. Jillian has a question. Jillian asks, hi, Adrian. I have a challenge reading the videos on Vimeo. If you're referring to Groundhogg Academy, which is where we post most of our Vimeo content. It's actually the only place where our Vimeo content exists for us, I think. Okay, so the font size is too small. Zoom in 200% and it is blurry. So I'm assuming that you're talking about some of the text in our courses. I'm sorry that it's not accessible to you. Unfortunately, fixing the font size would require actually re-recording the video and making the font size in the slides bigger if you are in fact talking about the course. If you're not talking about the course, then you're going to have to tell me which videos you're having trouble with. But in most cases, the text is actually only supplementary to the audio content because I'm usually explaining what the content means at the same time. And the written text is only to really just provide additional context, but is not necessarily required. So you are safe from that. What I would do is maybe you can message our page after the call and list off the video specifically that you're having trouble with, and we'll see what we can do. Maybe what we can do is we can send you the actual slide deck that was used so you can have a look at that and read along with the slides at the same time as watching the video. That's a solution that we can offer you because we have all of those slide decks saved. So message our page after office hours and we'll help you sort that out, Jillian. Hopefully that helps and answers your question. We are coming up on the 45-minute mark. We generally keep office hours anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. So if there are no further questions, then we're going to start wrapping office hours up. I'm going to give it 30 to 40 seconds or so because there is a time delay from when words leave my mouth to when they reach your screen. Any questions that you have, now is definitely the time to be asking them, posting in the chat so we can get you answers right now. If there are no questions in the next 30 to 40 seconds, we're just going to start wrapping up office hours. Okay, so it doesn't appear that anybody has other questions, which can mean two things. Either this is really intimidating or We're just doing a really good job at answering questions. I hope it's the latter. In any case, we're going to start wrapping up our session of office hours today. I want to thank everybody for joining me. If you need additional help, we have plenty of resources for you to go to get that help. We have our Academy site, which has a couple courses for you to take and learn about Groundhog and how to implement it. If you need implementation help because you're more of a sit back, relax kind of person, then you can go to our certified partner directory and just get someone to help you. We have 30 certified partners in like 30 countries, which is kind of cool. So we have plenty of people who are going to be willing to help you in your local area. You can find those partners at /partner/certified-partner-directory. Finally, if you know a colleague or know a business who would benefit from using Groundhog, then what you can do is you can sign up to become an affiliate and earn 10% recurring commissions if you are able to refer that person to us and they buy a plan. So that's pretty cool. You can go to affiliate area /registration to learn more about that and to sign up. If you're not following us on social, you absolutely should be. We post press releases and updates and inspirational messages on all of our platforms. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, although it's not listed here. Groundhog WP for all of those. If you have yet to leave a review, please do so. They really help us grow our user base, which means we can hire more developers, which means more features that you want and love faster. We're actually in the process of growing our development team to bring you great features faster. So that's something exciting. The more reviews that we have, the faster that's going to happen. So please take a few minutes of your day, 3 minutes at most, go to our WordPress plugin repository page and leave a 5-star review. If you have additional questions that you did not get to ask during today's session of office hours, there are lots of ways for you to still get answers. You can continue to comment on the thread. We will continue to be monitoring it. You can post in the Facebook group. That's what it's there for. You can message our live chat. You can also reach out to us at GroundhogWP on Facebook and Twitter, or email us info@groundhog.io. I want to thank everybody for joining me and taking the time out of your day. We will see everybody at 3 p.m. EST next week. Thanks and have a wonderful day.